Most people think bug bounty hunting is just luck. Smashing buttons, hoping something breaks, and then bam, a huge payout. But here's the thing. The people who consistently find bugs, the ones who actually get paid, they don't rely on luck at all. They have a playbook, a structured process that just plain works. Today, we're going to break down that exact blueprint.
So that's the real question, right? Is this whole thing just a roll of the dice, or is there a repeatable, almost scientific method to it? Well, the pros, they treat it like a science, and that's the exact mindset shift we're going to walk through right now.
I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. Success isn't about running in blind. It's about knowing what you're looking for, knowing the plays to run, and having a plan. If you don't have that, you're pretty much just wasting your time. It's that simple.
All right, let's get into the playbook. Here's our roadmap. We're going to start with setting you up for success. Then we'll dive into the recon hunt, show you how to score those first easy payouts, and finally, we'll touch on mastering the core exploits. This is your path from zero to your first bounty. Let's do it. Okay, so every single successful hunt begins way before you even look at a target. We call this the pregame phase. It's all about preparation, getting your gear, your tools, and your mind right. That way, when you actually start hunting, you're fast, you're efficient, and you're effective.
First thing on your list, you absolutely need a virtual private server, or a VPS. Now, a lot of people think this is just about hiding your home IP address for security, and yeah, it does that, but here's the real reason it's so critical. For the really serious bugs, like remote code execution, you need a public server to receive connections from the target. A VPS is non-negotiable if you're serious about this.
And the good news is, getting a VPS is super cheap and easy these days. You can spin one up with Amazon Web Services, pay by the hour, and even get a pre-built Kali Linux image ready to go. Or check out a classic provider like DigitalOcean. The point is, just get one. Get it set up before you actually need it. And look, you do not need some $10,000 supercomputer. A basic $500 laptop will get the job done. The real power isn't in the hardware, it's in your setup and your knowledge. So run Kali Linux in a virtual machine. It keeps all your tools clean and separate. And most importantly, you have to stay informed. Set up automated feeds for new vulnerabilities, follow the right people on Twitter, and get an RSS reader to pull in blog posts from the best hunters out there.
If you want to get paid like a professional, you've got to act like one. And that means being meticulously organized. Seriously, use a tool like Notion to build your own private wiki for every target. Use a checklist, maybe one based on the OWASP testing guide, so you never miss a step. And please log everything with Burp Suite. Trust me, 6 months from now, you will be so glad you can go back and see exactly what you did.
All right, your lab is set up. The hunt is on. But hold on, we're not firing off exploits just yet. We're starting with what is, without a doubt, the single most critical phase, reconnaissance. This is where the pros spend like 80% of their time. Think of it as digital map making. You're trying to chart out a company's entire online world to find all those forgotten servers and weird old websites where the best bugs are hiding. Now, Recon really boils down to two big ideas. First, you have horizontal correlation. This is where you go wide. You're trying to find every single thing the company owns, their IP ranges, other companies they've bought, the whole shebang. Then there's vertical correlation. This is where you go deep on one specific domain, trying to find every single subdomain under it. You absolutely have to do both.
And to do that, you need the right tools. Amass is pretty much the king here. It's a Swiss Army knife for finding everything. But listen, don't just rely on automated tools. Google Dorks are your secret weapon, and archives like the Wayback Machine, oh, they're absolute gold mines. You can find old, forgotten parts of a website that developers abandoned years ago, but are still totally vulnerable.
Here's a perfect example of a clever little trick. Most people know the cite command in Google, but check this out. Search for the company's copyright text in quotation marks. This can uncover all sorts of websites that belong to them but aren't linked anywhere on their main site. It's an awesome way to expand your attack surface.
Okay, you've done the prep work. You've done your recon. Now it's time for the really fun part, finding bugs that actually get you paid. We're going to start with what I call the easy wins. These are high-impact bugs that are often surprisingly simple to find, especially when you're just starting out.
First up, the classic subdomain takeover. This happens when a company points a subdomain to some third-party service, like an old blog platform, and then they forget about it and stop paying for that service. If you can go to that service and register that old abandoned name, boom, you now control a legitimate subdomain of your target. This is a critical bug every single time.
The process here is pretty wild because you're not even hacking the company directly. All you're doing is finding these abandoned pointers in their DNS records. Once you find one, you just sign up for an account on that third-party service, like anyone else would, and you claim that name. It's honestly that simple. GitHub is another absolute goldmine. Developers are human, and sometimes they accidentally upload sensitive files. A really powerful trick is to search for shell history files like .bash history that also have the company's name in them. I'm telling you, people have found passwords and secret API keys this way. It's a simple search that can lead to a massive payout. And of course, we have to talk about misconfigured cloud storage. Companies are moving tons of data to the cloud, AWS S3, Azure Blob, you name it. And way too often they just forget to lock the digital doors, leaving sensitive data wide open for anyone on the internet to see. You have to check for these.
So those easy wins are a fantastic place to start. But if you want to become a truly well-rounded professional hunter, you've got to master the classic web application vulnerabilities. A lot of these are laid out by OWASP, and they're basically the foundation of all modern web hacking.
Let's start with cross-site scripting, or XSS. It's super common. The whole goal here is to get a website to run your JavaScript code in some other user's browser. So where do you look for it? Well, pretty much anywhere you can type something in and see it appear back on the page. Think search bars, comment sections, your profile name. If the site reflects your input, it's a prime target.
Next up is SSRF, or Server-Side Request Forgery. This one is incredibly powerful. You're looking for any feature where you can tell the server to go fetch something from a URL. Maybe it's uploading a profile picture from a link. If you can trick that server into requesting an internal IP address instead of a public one, you've struck gold. This is how you can access internal admin panels or even steal secret credentials from cloud providers like AWS.
And finally, we've got the OG, the classic of all classics, SQL Injection. This is where you actually manipulate the database behind the website. A great place to start is any URL that has something like $ID equals 123. Try changing it to $ID equals 123 and then add a single quote. If the page breaks and you see a database error, you might have just found an SQL injection. This old bug can still let you dump the entire database. It's devastating.
So the most important thing to remember through all this is that consistency is everything. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Building that solid methodology, staying organized, and just putting in the work day after day, that's what separates the hobbyists from the pros who make a real living doing this.
So, feel like you're ready to get started. Here's your mission. Go sign up for a platform like HackerOne. Find a program with a big scope. That just means more places to look. Start with deep reconnaissance, and then go hunt for those easy wins we talked about.
You have the professional's blueprint now. You know the process, you know the tools, you know exactly what to look for. So the only real question left is, what are you going to find first?